What is up, guys? It is the Sportster Bradley Walker, and welcome back. Again, this is another Sunday version of the Walker Report. Had some technical difficulties, guys, on Thursday. I do apologize. But I am back here. Real quick, guys, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this. If you do not know, Tom Brady is coming back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was just announced just a few minutes ago that he is coming out of retirement to return to the Bucs next season. But we'll be talking. I'm sure we'll be talking about that on this show this evening. The Walker Report, guys, is part of NGSC Sports. Guys, remember the website. It's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. We are also part of In the Zone Sports Talk Radio. And guys, we have a YouTube channel called The Walker Report. Head over there. Please like, share, and subscribe. All of the shows will be in its entirety over there in case you miss any second of it. We are, of course, sponsored by CreatingZenSpaces.com, the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida for house cleaning, organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you and adding comfort to your life. And guys, remember, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. Again, guys, at the present moment, she is just serving the Pinellas Park in Clearwater and St. Pete area. Just want to let you know that ahead of time. Like I said, guys, we are back live here on the Walker Report on a Sunday. Let me bring one of my co-hosts on. Lewis is joining me this evening. Happy Sunday, sir.
Thanks. Well, was happy until a few minutes ago.
What's happy? Okay. I just happened to catch that right before we got on here, but
so did I. I wish I didn't have to believe it, but unfortunately, so they pulled a fast one on us, huh?
Yeah, it took 2 months off, and
April Fool, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, "Oh, we got clear some unfinished business. Oh yeah, I got to win another Super Bowl title. I didn't want to go out a loser." Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think. Well, and I know now with Russell Wilson going to the AFC, now it's just him and Aaron Rodgers basically in the NFC as far as that goes. But
I smell the rat.
I smell the rat.
Yes.
Let's see something. I know because we could talk about this before Adam gets on here. Lewis, when does the USFL start? Isn't it start next week or the week after?
No. April 15th.
Oh, next month. Next month. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I got an article from a Facebook group I'm part of that talks about the Tampa Bay Bandits. So here, let me give you my local take on the team that's going to be more prone when we get to next, if they have another season next year when they get back to Tampa. The Bandits are coached by former Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator Todd Haley. Haley was their defensive coordinator in Pittsburgh, right?
Yes.
Or was he offense? He was defense. He's defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Okay, so he is the head coach of the Tampa Bay Bandits. The offense, it looks like it's going to be, they picked quarterback Jordan Tanamahu. I don't even know who he is. Past couple of seasons, he bounced around to practice squad in the NFL, but he became.
Where was his college days?
I don't know. That's a good question.
All right.
I guess he said the quarterback we're referring to, Lewis, played in the XFL in 2020 with the St. Louis Battlehawks. He was the third best quarterback. He threw for 1,050 passing yards, was third in the league with his 217 rushing yards, was 7th among all players, not just quarterbacks.
Right.
He never managed to make it to the NFL level because his ability to process complicated defenses has never been up to par, even down at Ole Miss. So he was an Ole Miss Rebel.
Ole Miss.
That's where he comes from. That's the Ole Miss, the Rebels.
Yeah, they proved some good for him.
But other than that, I mean, I will pay more attention to this when we get to the season starting, because Ralph wants me to cover the Bandits once the season starts.
Right.
When I was in Nashville, I got to meet Ralph in person. That was kind of cool. And he's making the drive, Lewis, from what I understand, to Birmingham to cover all of the games. That's what he told me. He said, I have to get up on Saturday and drive, I think he said 2 or 3 hours to Birmingham, Alabama to
– Is that all?
Games. I think that's what he said. It could be longer. Maybe it's 5 hours. I don't know what.
I would think it'd be longer. I don't think Tennessee and Alabama are that close.
Let me see, because he lives in Clarkston. Hang on a second. Let me see how far. I'm going to Google this real quick.
I've only flown over to Georgia. Never drove through it.
Let's see. Clarkston. Oops. Clarkston, Tennessee. So that's where he lives. Clarkston, Tennessee to Alabama. It is a 3.5 hour drive. 3.5 hour drive.
Oh, that's like from here to Connecticut.
Yeah, and for me, that would be from here to like Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
So not where they have the Daytona 500. So that's about the distance, though, for a 3 hour drive. So that's pretty cool. It's not, but
closer than I thought.
Well, yeah, he said something to me that he would be covering them all, and then if they make it to season 2 and they come here, then it's my response. Then I will get credentials to cover.
You said the magic word.
If. Yeah, it's a big word. If.
The password is if.
If they get to season 2. But that's the USFL guy starts in about a month from now. It'll be kicking off. So we'll be talking about that as we get more.
Of course, we all know what the USFL actually stands for.
Go ahead, Lewis.
You stupid freaking loser.
That's fine. We can use that. That's cool. We can use that.
Yeah. That's what it really means.
We can use that.
The useless football league.
We can use that.
The useless football league, because it's going to be useless if it's only going to last one season anyway, which it probably will.
Probably. I do have some soccer news that we could talk about. It looks like Ronaldo became the all-time leading goal scorer. Is that correct? Okay.
It's correct. It happened yesterday.
I saw that yesterday. Yeah, I saw that come up yesterday. He is one at the top. Manchester United star attraction scored a hat trick Saturday against Tottenham Hotspur, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Nobody gets that right, so you're pretty close. I can never say that name. But that's a big rival. That's a big rival for Manchester U.
And Manchester United is owned by the Glazers, who own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there you go. To become the most prolific scorer in men's football history with 807 goals in competitive matches. Ronaldo tied Austrian Czech forward Josip Bigon, who held the record for 67 years with 805 goals earlier in Saturday's game with a wicked shot from a distance. The Portuguese sensation tapped home Jadon Sancho's cross just before halftime. It's in a new benchmark that added to it with a trademark header within minutes remaining to win the game for Manchester United. So the good news is he scored the winning goal and they won. That's the good part.
Yes.
It kind of, to me, it kind of sucks when a player breaks a record and the team loses in the record. Not that it's
happened.
It doesn't mean that it's, still doesn't mean that it's not a great thing. It's better when the team wins.
It's a great moment, but it has happened, after the celebration and whatnot, like, hey fellas, we still got a game to play. I know I broke the record, but we still got to play. And guess what? We lost. So it does kind of spoil the mood.
Yeah, that's like I said. I mean, to me, it would be a lot better if when they break the record, Come
to think of it, I think the Braves lost when Henry hit the home run anyway. So I think that
probably most likely.
Yeah, I think he lost. I think the Braves lost that day, so that kind of spoiled it right there.
And yours truly still believes that he holds the world home run record. So that's just me. I'm a traditional guy.
I forget if the Kings won the night when Gretzky broke the record. I kind of forgot.
Yeah, I don't. That's a good question.
I watched it when he broke it though. I watched it.
Hang on, let's check that out.
March 23rd, 1994.
Did the Braves win when Hank Aaron broke
April 8th, 1974?
The home run record.
Now you weren't born yet though.
Let's see. Hank Aaron broke the home run record in 1974 on April 8th. Mm-hmm. Both his 714th and 715th home run. Well, let's see. Did they win that game is the question that I have. In front of 53,000 people at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Let's see. Let's see here. It doesn't really tell me if they did win that game or did not win that game. Let's see. April 8th, 1974. Okay. Check something out here. Games on April 8th, 1974. Major League record. Okay. Let's see. Scoring reference. I didn't say 1874. Jesus.
Wow.
Good typing skills, Brad. I put 1874 in there. Jesus.
I think the league just started then.
Okay, so here are the games from April 8th, 1974. The scoreboard is up here. Yes, they did lose that game. Well, wait a minute. Now, how does that make any sense? It says they lost. That's April 9th. Hang on a second. No, I don't need April 9th. I need April 8th. They did. I'm sorry. They did lose that game 9-2. 9-2 was the final score.
Wow.
The Dodgers won 9-2 in that game. So yes, they
wasn't even close.
I have a friend of mine who's a Packer fan who just texted me and says that Tom Brady needs to stay retired so that Aaron Rodgers can win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, that's why he came back, so Aaron Rodgers wouldn't win a Super Bowl.
Exactly. I was going to say that's the exact reason why he came back. We can go into, I don't know where Adam is at. I know he messaged me earlier today and said he was going to be on. Yeah. Maybe he's having some technical difficulty. I messed with my computer the other day and had some technical difficulties. That's why we didn't have our show on Thursday. I couldn't get it figured out.
How did last Sunday go?
It went okay. It was okay. Good. I mean, we were on a lot earlier. You know, we were on at 4:00 in the afternoon last week, but it was,
usually around between 3 and 5, I'm having dinner.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Well, the Pga Tour currently is at TPC at Sawgrass, the Players Championship. And I think they're going to have to play tomorrow because they ran out of light today. And let me check the leaderboard real quick.
And whoever said it doesn't rain in Southern California is a liar.
So let's see what the leaderboard is for the. Last I checked, the guy that was in the lead, I have never heard of him prior to today. Let's see. Right now, we have Erebon Lafferty. He is 9 under par. Tom Hodge and Harold Varner III are both at 8 under par. Sebastian Munoz and Paul Casey are -7. Actually, the funny thing is next week, the PGA Tour comes to the Valspar Championship, which is in Palm Harbor, which is only about a 20-minute drive from where I live, so not too
right?
away. Not too far away. Sam Burns, I think, was the guy that had the lead earlier today. He's 2 shots back.
Now this is the Players' Championship, right?
The Players' Championship,
or as what some might call the 6th major.
Correct. Yeah, it's one of.
I don't know if they'll call that, but I kind of call it the 6th major.
One of the ones who, but they will be playing tomorrow, I believe, to finish up round 4 of it. Because usually, if you guys do not know where they are playing, the TPC at Sawgrass in Ponte Verde is on the east coast. It's on the east coast of Florida. But the hole of all holes is number 17, the Island Green at 17. If you want to just Google Island Hole at 17, and you'll be able to see it. It's around.
What makes it significant, though? I mean, as a whole. So, what makes it more significant than others?
Well, it's one of the holes that is one of the most signature holes on the tour every year. That's one of them. The 16th, where they play out in Arizona, where they have all the fans that go alongside. Obviously, Amen Corner at the Masters, number 11, 12, and 13. Those 3 holes at Augusta National, of
course,
are tough.
I get it now.
The 18th hole at Pebble Beach is one of those signature holes. So I got another person that just messaged me, "Let's go Bucks," because Tom Brady's back. Yes, if you guys did not hear the beginning, Tom Brady is coming out of retirement after just 2 months to come back with the Bucks. I had actually heard a rumor the other night, Lewis, that there were rumors that he wanted to play for the 49ers. That's what I heard, and I guess that was just put to bed just a few minutes ago. But I had heard that he wanted to play with the 49ers. So
I guess they figure, what's his name is going to be leaving as quarterback, so maybe that was an opportunity for Brady to come in, because the 49ers, I don't think are going to win Super Bowl with Garoppolo. I really don't.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think he depends too much on the running game.
Yeah.
Than anything else, and it's a passing league. If you guys don't know, the NFL is a passing league.
Well, more so now.
Right. Let's talk, Lewis, real quick. Let's talk. We could talk baseball and football later, as far as NFL and all that stuff. But let's talk March Madness, because the selection show was earlier today, this evening,
and Jersey got in.
Let's just see March Madness bracket. Let's take a look. See how the bracket breaks down. Okay, let's see here.
The 3 schools from New Jersey are in.
That's good. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. Let's see here. See exactly. I know Gonzaga was the number 1 overall, whatever that means. I don't.
They had the best record of everybody. The best record of all.
The number ones are as follows. The West bracket is Gonzaga. The East bracket is Baylor. The Midwest bracket is Kansas. And the South bracket is Arizona. Those are the 4 number 1s.
Yes.
The 4 number 2s are Duke in the West. It is, let's see here, Kentucky in the East, Auburn in the Midwest, and Villanova in the South.
Even though they won the Big East last night.
And then the 3s are Texas Tech in the West. It is, let's see, Purdue in the East, Wisconsin in the Midwest, and the number 3 in the South is the Tennessee Volunteers. So that is who is the South there. So Rutgers got in. I see, Lewis. They're playing Notre Dame.
Yes.
Okay. And who are the other?
It's the playing game, actually.
Okay. Who are the other 2? You said just 3 of them got in.
St. Peter's and Seton Hall.
St. Peter's will play Kentucky in the first round.
See ya.
And Seton Hall is playing. Okay, did I miss them? Of course, I have this bracket that's like super tiny and I can't read it.
Same with me.
Where is Seton Hall at? Darn it, hang on just a second because I'm going to.
8th seed.
8th seed, are they in the. Oh, there they are. I'm sorry. They're playing TCU in the South.
Should be a good matchup. Should be an interesting matchup.
That should be a very interesting match. Well, I'm looking at all the number 1 seeds. Lewis, any chance that they get upset? Any of them? Baylor plays Norfolk State. Gonzaga plays Georgia State. Arizona plays the winner of WRST and BRY. And then Kansas plays Texas, TXSO, or TMAC.
Texas Southern.
I'm not sure who those two are.
Texas Southern is one of them. I don't see any of the number 1 seeds getting ousted in the first round this year. I really don't.
Right.
I think Adam's coming.
Yeah, there he is. I see him now. Yeah, I think all 4 number 1s I think will get out of the first round.
It should be.
Yeah,
probably.
There won't be an upset 16 seed upsetting a number 1 in the first
round. Not this year, I don't think.
Yeah.
No, you're not gonna see it every year anyway.
Well, it looks like our boy's coming back to Tampa Bay, huh?
Indeed.
2 months of retirement. He says, you know what? I'm going to come back now.
Yeah.
Threw Aaron Rodgers over. And the rest of the NFC.
That was the whole point.
And the rest of the NFC.
Yeah.
The other NCAA news that I had is that the USF Bulls have a recommended site for their on-campus football stadium. I actually wrote an article for NGSC about that. But they have come up with a on-campus stadium that is very close to their new indoor practice facility. So, and I didn't know that it's going to cost them anywhere from $250 million to $400 million dollars to get that stadium built. They have $5 million already donated already. Somebody's already stepped forward with $5 million already donated for the new stadium, but the school's got to come up with the other $300+ million that's left, unless they can get someone else to donate. But I think first, as I wrote in my article, they're going to have to start winning football games if they're going to.
Yeah, because they are atrocious.
Yeah,
they got like basketball either.
They get. Oh yeah. Their men's team didn't even make. Team finished. I think their record was 8-23 this year.
Yeah, something like that. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Georgetown.
At least the women's team wins shit. You know, at least they win.
Yeah.
They were in the AAC championship game and lost to UCF. Of course, the one team you don't want to lose to.
Yeah.
No, but yes, they both teams lost to UCF on the same day. That's how interesting that is. But yes.
I completely forgot about this. That's my fault.
Oh, you're good, bud. No, you're all good. You're good. I was telling Lewis, I'm like, well, maybe something happened. Maybe he had technical difficulties like I did on Thursday, and he's.
No, I just space brained. I'm sitting here eating and looked down at the clock and went, "Shit, it's 8:30 already."
You know where your podcast is?
But who won the NASCAR race? I was watching a little bit of it when I got home today.
Yeah.
Oh, Chase Briscoe.
Where were they at today? Where were
Phoenix.
they at? Phoenix. Okay.
In the desert.
Yeah.
In the deserts.
Yeah, I was getting ready for bed, and I was just looked at the clock, and I looked down and went, "Oh, I'm supposed to be doing a show right now. Great."
Must be the desert heat.
With the hour, the spring had an hour. It feels like it's only 7:30.
Yeah.
It looks like it's 7:30. I went downstairs at like 7:30, 7:45. I'm like, it should already be dark. This is really annoying. I hate the summer. I hate the time change because it throws me off for 3 months, and then I can't sleep, and I'm like.
My brother was the same way.
So. Well, the thing that sucks is you'll be sleeping tonight and you roll over and go, oh man, really? Is it? It's already 6:30. It feels like it's 5:30. Now I got to get up and go to work. It's like,
yeah,
right.
It's like, okay.
You rather have it dark most of the time, huh?
Yeah, I'd rather have it dark at 8:30, 9 o'clock. Definitely.
Okay.
So that way I can, when I'm ready to turn in and head to bed, around here in June and July, it doesn't get dark until you look at 9:30. It's not dark till 9:30, 9:45.
Yeah.
And it's still that annoying, not quite dark yet not light anymore.
Yeah.
And so it throws me off, and I'm like, I can't sleep because it's not bedtime. It's still light out. Damn it.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, you'll start to feel better around September.
Yes.
Yeah. When we, what would be fine is if we stayed on one time all year. Then you could get used to being on the one time and not change back. I don't understand why we still need daylight savings time. It's not 33 anymore, and I don't need to go out and pick the crops when I get off of work.
I think they want to stay on the time zone that we're in now, the one that's ahead an hour. They want to stay
I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care. It would be fine if we could just go all year.
Right.
Pick one and stick with it. I'd be all right with that.
Yeah.
Fine with me.
So again, guys, there is your NASCAR update from Phoenix. Where are they racing next week?
Yeah, it was all right. Atlanta.
All right. Atlanta, they're going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's going to be quite a move. Flying going from the desert back to the true South in Georgia.
Yeah, usually they do that. They do Daytona, and then the next 5 races are all out on the West Coast, so that the East Coast can thaw out. Well, listen, right now it's too cold in the East Coast to have racing, and then in 2 months it's gonna be too hot out west. And when you have 110 degrees in the desert, it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you try to run a lot of Midwest races in the summer, so you see Atlanta, Michigan, not Atlanta. I'm sorry, I'm in Indianapolis. Michigan, Bristol, Watkins Glen. Those are all.
Isn't it, guys? And correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it the day of the Indianapolis 500 for NASCAR? Aren't there like 3 other races that day?
Yes.
Well, it's I don't know if Monaco's going to be in the morning.
It probably would.
Last year it wasn't. Last year it was the week before. It was really annoying.
Well, under normal circumstances, it'd be Formula 1 in the morning. That's breakfast. Indianapolis lunch or brunch, and Coca-Cola 600 for dinner or after dinner.
Right. And takes you into the your late night snack.
Yeah. Maybe they'll race in Bristol or something for that. Yeah.
I think the Coke 600 moving the Coke 600 off of Memorial Day would be a crying shame.
Yeah. If you want to place with a Pepsi Cola, that'd be fine with me.
I'm a Coke.
Okay, I get it.
I'm a Coke.
Whoever gets the sponsorship gets it. I get it.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
right?
Coke or Pepsi. We'll take either one at this point. I'll be sponsored by either one.
Yeah, right, or both.
I thought Mountain Dew was involved too.
No, they never had the 600 race.
Yeah. Okay. What you get? I get it. Whoever gets the sponsorship gets the race. I get it.
Yeah. If you want to pay the money for it, you pay the money for it.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Anybody else have any ideas?
Whoever's check clears first.
Right.
I'm gonna say that would be the one.
That would be the one.
Whoever writes the biggest check and whoever's check clears first. Okay.
Yes.
Of course.
Lewis, can you anything in the NBA going on? I know LeBron dropped 50 the other night for them to win, but they're a struggling team.
They are a struggling team. Despite the fact LeBron has put up 50 points plus in 2 of the last 3 games, it's the rest of the team that has gone south. And of course, it had the big 3 have been nothing more than nothing but a little 3 at that. Westbrook hasn't done jack this whole season. Yeah. And
I've always thought that the Jordan rules apply to LeBron.
Yeah.
You shut everybody else down, and you let LeBron get his.
Mm-hmm.
What you do to Jordan is you make sure that nobody else scores. Because Jordan's going to score regardless.
Right.
But if you don't let him have, if Jordan has 40 and the rest of the team has 40, that's 80. You only need 81 to beat them. If your 5 guys get 20, you can beat Jordan. And I think the same thing applies to LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Is if LeBron has 50 or 60 or 70 and the other guys only have 30, all you need is 101 to beat him.
Yeah.
And I think that's very much how I would play LeBron is, I'm gonna let him score. I'm gonna take away all of his options, let him score. Because LeBron's not a facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
It was different. Kobe was one of those guys, and LeBron doesn't have that same killer instinct that Kobe or Jordan did. Where even if you did take away their options, they just be like, all right, fine, I'll beat you myself.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan, for all of his faults and foibles, Jordan knew what he needed. The guys that he's in his supporting cast, whether it was Rodman and Pippen. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. They were the perfect complement to him.
Or an odd couple.
Or I mean, you could throw like a Tony Kukoc and a Steve Kerr into the mix.
Yeah,
too.
Yes.
Yeah, anybody like that, Jordan had a great supporting cast.
Absolutely.
Big supporting cast.
On the field, but off the field, they weren't the team that you thought they knew.
True.
It doesn't matter if you're winning games.
Nope.
Yeah.
John Madden said,
but you had to fake the emotion. On the court, you feel like there was a brotherhood.
The checks still cash.
Yeah, but still.
The merchandise still flew off the shelf, and that's all that matters. At the end of the day, you say it's a game, I say it's a business. You say it's a business, I say it's a game.
Yeah.
It's like John Madden said all them years ago. Winning is a great deodorant.
Which one?
You can cover up a lot of stank with a win and winning. And being and having a winning formula. Look at Greg Popovich. I mean, 5 titles, almost 1,400 wins, most winningest coach of all time now.
Yes, he's broke the record.
And they've had their personalities and their issues over the years.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, all that matters is winning. They don't ask you how, just how many.
Yeah. I was gonna say the way that the playoffs, the play-in start game begins April 12th. The playoffs start on April 16th,
about a month.
So we're about a month away.
Yeah.
But here's if it started today, here's how everything would break down. The number 1 seeds in the West is the Suns. The number 1 seed in the East is the Miami Heat. The play-in tournament would be between the Lakers and the Pelicans. The winner would face the winner or the loser of the Timberwolves Clippers series.
Oh wow!
Winner of that series would play the number 2 Memphis Grizzlies. It would be Golden State against the Denver Nuggets, and it would be the Jazz against the Mavericks. That's the West. The East playing game right now would be the Charlotte Hornets and the Atlanta Hawks. The winner would go on to play the loser of the Brooklyn Nets and Toronto Raptors. The winner would go on to play Milwaukee in round 1. And then it would be 3 versus 6, which is 76ers Cavaliers. And the 4-5 series, which I think might be a pretty good one, is between Chicago and Boston. That would be a great series.
That's a great series.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a good whale series.
So if the playoffs started today, that's how it would kind of break down.
I can't stand the Celtics. I do them as a sleeper pick this year.
In the East, they are.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see the Clippers be in the playoffs, or not the Clippers, excuse me, the Raptors, because didn't they start out like 7-22?
Yes.
Yeah, they had a bet. Well, they were bad during the COVID year when they were here in Tampa.
Right.
They were
So
bad.
the Nets.
Yeah, they were bad when they were here in Tampa. Yeah. Didn't go very well with that. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about the NBA there for a little bit. And Lewis, the WNBA doesn't start up to what, April or May? When do they start their season?
May. Just before Memorial Day weekend.
We're a few months away then at that point. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's just so they can
time of the year.
With the problem with Brittany Griner. Oh boy.
Yeah, so she got detained in Russia, right? Is that
in Russia? Illegal substance.
Was she let go, or what exactly happened?
I haven't heard.
It was over oil that she was carrying.
Hash oil.
Yeah.
Which is because I think
illegal
it's illegal substance, and they detained her about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, right at the start of the war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Remember, a lot of the WNBA players, that's how they spend their off season because they make more money over there and
playing in Europe. Yeah.
But remember how they handle things. They handle it a lot differently than we do.
Looks like earlier today the Buffalo Sabres defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs in the Heritage Classic. That was an outdoor game.
Yeah.
I didn't
know anything about that.
And it was so cold that they provided free long johns for people in the stands and the players as well because they needed it. Really. Wow. 10 degrees. Conditions were favoring more of Siberia.
Buffalo won 5-2.
I see that. I didn't even know there was a game going on today.
The other score was 4-2 Pittsburgh over Carolina. And the late games tonight are Tampa Bay, Vancouver at 10, and Florida and the Kings also at 10 o'clock. Games currently going on. The Blues are up 2-1 over Winnipeg after 2 periods. Nashville and Minnesota are tied at 1 at the end of the first period. Montreal and Philadelphia are tied at 2 as they get ready to close out period 2. Columbus is beating Vegas 5-3 in about the 3/4 of the way through period 2. The Islanders are up 3-1 at the start of the second period. There, the Avalanche are up 1-0 at the end, near the end of the first period over Calgary. Here, let's look at the standings real quick of where everybody stands. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the Florida Panthers are the number 1 in the Atlantic. I could be wrong, but
I think you're right.
Because the Lightning have lost, I think 3 games in a row. Carolina is the number 1 seed. They're up 6 points up over Pittsburgh and 8 points up over the Rangers in the Metro. And you have the Capitals, the Blue Jackets, and then I think as far as that goes, the Islanders, the Devils, and the Flyers, I think, are not going to make the playoffs. I think Columbus is on the outside looking in too.
Yeah, Devils are going nowhere.
Yeah, the Atlantic is Florida, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Boston, and then I think that's it. The drop-off then would be the Red Wings, Sabres, Senators, and then Montreal. Montreal only has 38 points.
They've had a tough year.
I mean, their goal differential is a -78. That is not.
That's minus what?
78.
Yeah, I know, but I'm still in some disbelief. Minus 78.
Here's the thing, too, Lewis. The Florida Panthers that lead the division are a +73. So I just want to put that into context of how far Montreal is down there.
They are negative.
And to think, not long ago, they were a top contender to win the Stanley Cup. Things have changed in a year and a half.
Negative 145 goals.
Yep.
They're minus 145 behind the.
They've scored 143 goals this year and given up 221.
And they've given the goal differential between them and Carolina, or not Carolina, Florida is minus 145.
Minus 145, correct.
Because they would need 78 goals to get to 0, and then another 73 to get to get even
with Florida.
With Florida. That's a lot of goals in 20 games.
Well, put it this way. Okay, Montreal has scored 143 goals as a team. The Panthers have scored 243 goals as a team. That's 100 more goals scored by Florida over Montreal this year.
Yeah. Well, it was like, it's just that just worries me when you're looking. I think it was last Sunday when you weren't here. We were looking at the goal differential.
Yeah.
Of the last 3 or 4 Stanley Cup winners, and they've all been in the mid-30s.
Yep.
And for me, I think what I'm looking at is that these teams that are you're scoring, you're winning 7-1, 6-2, 5-1, but you're also losing a lot of 2-1 games, 1-0 games. So when you score in bunches, but you don't get timely scoring, and is looking at the it's you score, I score, you score, I score, goal for goal. And I think that's when you're going to look at your Stanley Cup champions the last 4 or 5 years haven't had a plus. I think the highest one was plus 35.
Yeah.
If I remember right from what we were looking at.
Yeah.
And that was Tampa, I think 2 years ago, excluding the pandemic year, which was wonky anyway.
Right.
But looking at the last 4 years with a full season, even the pandemic shortened year from last year where we only had 56 games, it's still you weren't looking at more than plus 40.
Right.
So I think that what you're looking at when you're trying to handicap the playoffs, I want to see timely scoring. I want to see a low goal for differential, because what that says to me is you're scoring. If I score, you score. I score, you score. I score, you score. So yeah, you may be giving up goals, but you're getting them right back.
Well, here's how the standings break down as far as the wild card would go. In the East, so the Metro Division, the top 3 teams are as follows: Carolina, Pittsburgh, and the Rangers. The Atlantic would be Florida, Tampa Bay, and Toronto. So there's the top 6. The 2 wild card spots right now, I think, are basically solidified up, and that's Boston and Washington.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much.
The Capitals have a 13-point lead on Columbus, and that's a lot of points to make up this time of the year. I mean, Washington would have to run a losing streak badly.
They would have to collapse.
To catch them. So the East is
not only would Columbus, Buffalo, Boston, Washington. Holy shit! Washington would have to collapse, and Columbus would have to go on a long winning streak.
Right.
Because even if Washington lost 3 or 4 games in a row, they have a large enough lead that they can lose 3 or 4 games in a row, and Columbus still wouldn't be able to catch them.
Yep. So
they would have to absolutely fall apart in the last 2 weeks of the season here for them to even think about making a comeback.
And the West, as of right now, the Central Division is the Avalanche, the Blues, and the Wild. And then you have the Calgary Flames, Kings, and Oilers in the Pacific. The wild card, though, is a little bit closer than it can be. Right now, Nashville and Vegas own the wild card spots. But Dallas is only 1 point behind Vegas. Vancouver 3 points behind Vegas. Anaheim is only 4 points behind Vegas. And Winnipeg is only 6 points behind Vegas. So it's a tighter race in the West.
A lot more doable.
Yeah. 6 points is you're getting to the precipice of almost being out, but you're still right there. You can catch fire.
Right. You can go on a winning streak.
Right. Correct. Yes.
And if somebody stumbles, you don't need them to completely collapse. If somebody stumbles, you can get them back.
Right. Yeah.
It's within reach. It's not 13 points where you're looking at you need to go on a 6-game winning streak and they need to go on a 6-game losing streak to even get close.
Well, here's how it breaks down too. Right now, Vegas is only 2 points behind Nashville, but here's the kicker. Nashville has 2 games in hand over Vegas. So that's not spelling very well. Dallas they've got 3 games in hand from Vegas. And they're only 1 point back. So they have a shot up.
Has the trade deadline passed?
No, I think it's coming up. I think it's coming up next week. Yeah, there's a deadline. So we can talk about that next Thursday.
It seems late in the year for the trade deadline.
It does, doesn't it?
I feel like the trade deadline should have come and gone weeks ago, but
I think
I know with the pandemic and everything all being the calendar still being off, this being the first this being the first 82 game season we've had in 2 years, I'm sure that trying to get all the the calendar won't get reset until June, and then things will. Because it feels like the trade deadline should have been at the beginning of March, not the middle of March.
That's how
it feels like you're really going to be able to go out and get a piece here and really pick up a guy like Mark Scheifele or God, I can't think of anybody who's Mark Stahl or somebody like that from Detroit. And really make a run, get a solid defenseman or a top 6 forward before we head into the playoffs. I think making a trade at the deadline is probably one of the worst things you can do if you're a contender, if you're a borderline contender.
Yes.
How do you guys feel about that? Especially in baseball. I think baseball is the worst sport to make a trade in.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think the one thing, and I know a lot of people don't consider team chemistry as an important, vital thing to your team. But when you bring somebody in, the chemistry obviously is going to change, especially if the guy that you've traded to get that guy was one of the favorites of the team that that makes it a little hard to accept that. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think in Major League Baseball, I think is where it makes it kind of changes a team. It could change a team for the good or the bad. However,
I think about it a couple of years ago when the Tigers traded Shane Green to Atlanta for a bag of balls, and he did nothing in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And they ended up I think that was 2019. That was the 2019 trade deadline, and that went nowhere. And I see that happen so much in the NHL or in the MLB. I think hockey is a sport where you kind of just come in and you do your job.
Right.
I very rarely do I see a trade where you go, especially at the end of the year. I think off-season trades, can work out just fine. A lot guys get moved from one team to another all the time, and it doesn't, because you get, especially at the beginning of the off-season.
Yeah,
guys get dealt all the time, and so you get that whole, you say goodbye to your friends and you move, and then you get established in the new city, and you're coming in with all the other new guys that are learning everything.
Right.
But at this point in the year, we're 3 weeks away from the playoffs. Everybody's established. Mm-hmm. The pecking order is established. You know who's a go-to guy. If you got an issue, you go talk to this guy, or if you need something done, you go talk to that guy. And now you're the new guy coming in from another city with another set of and you're trying to slot yourself into the pecking order, and you're trying to figure out who you mesh with, who you work well with, guys that you might know a couple of guys from the other team, the team you're being dealt to, but you don't know everybody, you don't know any of the staff. You might know the head coach in passing, maybe you know him well from other, from coming up through the minors or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's all, it's getting to know the equipment guy who knows how you like your tape, your stick taped, or your skates tied, how you like your skates laced, how you like your gear put in your locker. It's, and that culture shock of going, if you played in LA for 3 years and then you end up in Buffalo, and Buffalo is a totally different place than LA. LA is a lot more laid back, and it's just Southern California. Buffalo's working class, blue collar, and now you go to that, you go from that shift in mentality that you have to get through.
Absolutely. I mean, as far as I'm concerned with the Lightning, I think they're going to trade for a defenseman, but it won't be anybody big. It'll be one of those second tier defensemen just to add depth.
Just a little bit of depth.
Chart. Yeah, because that's where I think the one area they're thin. I don't think they really need any forward help. I really don't. I think we have, it's not the same team that it was last year with, the lines that we had last year where, John Cooper could put out, Yanni Gord, Blake Coleman, and Barclay Goodrow. Obviously, those guys are gone. All three of them have gone. Goodrow was picked up in the expansion draft, and I think one of them plays for the Rangers and one of them plays for the Flames, if I'm not mistaken. So they've gone off and made money in the offseason. Yeah. And then this year, I think the line that has been pivotal for the Lightning is the line of Patrick Maroon, Belair, and who's the other guy? Oh, Corey Perry. That's been the line that's been kind of interesting this year for the Lightning. So that's line 4. That's not any of the
your top line.
Top line, which is Point, Kucherov, and Andre Palat. But yeah. So
I was going to ask if Kucherov was going to be available for the playoffs.
Yeah. And then line 2 is Kaloran, Stamkos, and Cirelli is line 2.
So good problem to have.
Yeah, and then line 3 is Matthew Joseph, Ross Colton, who scored the only goal in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals last year against Montreal. And I forget who, and then forget who the rookie. There's a rookie on that line too, so that's the new line 3 is a rookie. But I think the thing with the Lightning recently, I'm going to say this because they get off to slow starts, and those slow starts are costing them hockey games. When you allow the team to score 2 or 3 goals in the first period, and you're playing from behind all the time, sooner or later that catches up to you, and it's caught up to them. They've lost the last 3 games that way. When they score the first goal, as a lot of teams do, you normally win.
Right.
But when you don't score that first goal, it's hard. It gets hard.
That first goal is crucial.
Yeah.
Oh,
especially in the playoffs. Especially in the playoff hockey.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a whole different
what I want is what I wanted at the beginning of the year. I like where we're heading. I'm being the Red Wings, being the resident Red Wings guy. I will back my team. It's been frustrating the last 4 or 5 games. They've looked awful. They've been playing without energy, without a spark, just going through the motions, and it feels like it's a lost season at this point. What I want is I want Blashill gone. We need new blood. We need a head coach that can get the guys to fire up and fill up and live up to their potential. We've had since 7 seasons, 1 playoff appearance, and we've been rebuilding since 2013. We're 9 years into this rebuild, and
long rebuild,
and we're nowhere. We're not close. We're 17 points out of a wild card spot.
And yet, mathematically, you're still alive.
I don't even know. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure, probably mathematically eliminated, or if not mathematically eliminated yet.
Well, right now the Red Wings stand. They are 22 points out of the first playoff spot, or are the first wild card seed, and they are 29 points out of the second wild card, or 19 points out of the first one, and 22 out of the first one, 19 out of the second one.
So so it's pretty close with 17.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, it would take a monumental thing for them to get to the postseason, but I think
they're not mathematically eliminated, but in all reality, they might as well be.
Yeah, you might as well just pack it in right now.
They are. I think they're another season or two away from being back in the thick of it.
At least.
I really can say that.
And at this point, I think so too. That's kind of where I'm at. I like our farm system. I think we've got a lot of great prospects in Europe right now. And that's what I just want. I want to clear up cap space, get rid of some of these. You know, if I was Steve Eiserman, if I was Stevie, that's what I've been looking at. I've been looking to offload some of these older guys, these veterans that aren't contributing anymore, so that I can free up cap space and roster spots for these young guys who are coming up and get them in, slotted in now, and see what I've got before I go into the off season.
I was just going to say, but when you're talking about your minor league system, I wonder who has a big deal with that, and that's Stevie Eiserman. He did that with Tampa.
Yep.
So he knows how to.
You have to have a farm system.
Get big contracts out, like you said, and
clean up the cap space. Get the big bad contracts out. Hold on to guys like Bertuzzi and Larkin and the young guys that are coming up.
Right.
And move everybody that you can. Get backload the draft, and just build your farm system. And then when next year comes, when this summer comes along, when the free agents are available, and that's when I want to see what I have before the season ends, because I want to be able to go into the offseason. I want to be able to go into the free agent market and look for bits and pieces, guys that are 25 to 29, aren't super old, aren't super young, that I can pair with the young guys that got coming up, and the aging veterans that I already have, and that I can start making runs at it. And I have Lashel on a very short leash going into next year if he survives the end of the year. We can't start off 15-22 again. No. We can't be going into the Thanksgiving Day and going into December 8 points out of a playoff spot anymore.
Well, it's doable though.
What's that?
Well, I was going to ask you, but I was going to ask you too about the Red Wings. Do you think you guys need to make a move for a goaltender or anything like that, or do you guys think you're solid there?
Defense. I think that every goalie has a bad game. I'm not worried about
Right.
It happens from time to time. I'm more worried about the lack of defense we have.
Right.
Mo Snyder is only one guy. We need another defenseman. We need a top two. We need another top four defenseman.
Right.
And that's really where I would make. That's who I would be looking. That'd be the kind of guy that I'm 25 to 29, established but not old. Yeah, you might spend some money, but if I can get me a top flight defenseman, I'm gonna spend money on him. Somebody else that I can pair up with one of these young guys that that I can have him show that I can show him that he can learn the ropes with an aged veteran who's not so old that he's going to be a liability on the back end, but he's also not young where he's not going to get he's not going to, some young punk's going to come up there and go, well, why don't I just take his job?
Right.
He's going to learn the right way, how to do things, how to be a professional, how to be a good defenseman. We need another point man on the power play. That's what I'm looking for, is a guy that's a good defenseman who can score both, who can contribute on offense. I don't need him to score 20 goals. I just need him to captain the power play and play catch and get and find I just need a setup man. Let somebody else score the goals. You have 25 assists. I'm happy with that. That's kind of what I'm looking for, is a 25, 30, 35 assist on 8 goals. You give me 35 assists on the power play and you play shutdown defense. That's what I want. 8 goals, 35 assists, 50 points, and a plus minus of 22. That's plus 22. That's $4.5 million a year for the next 6 years. I'd do that deal all day. If you find me that guy, that's the guy I want. And I can put him on the second line. or I could put him on the first line, second line if Mo's struggling and he needs he needs to go down a line and work on his game. Then I got a guy that I can put on the top line, one of my top 2 defense pairs. Yep, I'd be happy all day.
Lewis, you want to talk about your Rangers? They're not in too bad a shape right now.
No, they haven't been. They won last night, and they kind of need that game. So with third in the conference, I mean, it's rather significant at this point. They still have some work to do, but they've improved over last season, and they may have a pretty good shot here of making at least the second round of the playoffs. Outside chance they can win the division, but they got some work to catch up on. In fact, let me just see about from the standings over here. So that gets it with.
Yeah, I think they're third right now in the Metro behind behind Carolina and Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Yeah, but Pittsburgh isn't that far ahead, though.
No, actually, they're only 2 points ahead of them. So the Rangers are right there, take over the number 2 seed in the Metropolitan Division. Yeah.
Yeah, so we all know it sucks to be number 2. So, oh boy.
And the Rangers are only they're 8 points behind Carolina. That's a lot of points to make up to take over the number 1 overall seed in the Metro.
There's still time. Remember, we got to the end of April before the season ends. Remember they pushed back the season because everybody was getting sick because everybody was just throwing up all over each other with COVID. So factor that in. So we still have about 6-7 weeks to go before we enter. And you never know. Carolina can go on a 4-game losing streak. Not that I think they're hoping for that, but they can go ahead. Rangers get hot. So while it looks, a little bit tricky now, it can change, within 2 weeks. So I wouldn't rule anybody out yet.
Right. Well, no. I mean, you can't. I mean, obviously, unless they're mathematically out completely, no, you can't count anybody out.
No.
We've got half a month of March and all of April before we can, officially call it quits. But yeah,
unless you're the Sabres or Coyotes, you got a chance. If you're the Sabres or Coyotes,
or the Canadiens, the Senators,
your season. The Sabres, the Canadians, the Coyotes, your seasons were over in September. So, we'll see you in October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the Orioles season be over in day 2 when they start.
Well, I mean, do you guys want to talk MLB? We don't have to, but we could talk about that if you want to. I mean, we can. I have NFL.
I went on a screen last week, so I will. If Lou wants to talk about it, we can talk about it. If not,
okay, yeah. I just as soon as I get the standings over here, because I'm just trying to prove my point here.
Go ahead.
Sometimes this cockamamie won't load up.
You know what I'm going to do, Adam? I'm going to find a Rob Manfred thing with the cross through it, and I'll just put that up behind me when we talk about baseball.
There you go.
Hang on. Let me find one. By Lewis is looking up his stats. Let me find.
Okay, I'll wait.
Let me see if I have. A
you can always put that meme up. Rob Manfred has done more to ruin baseball than the Astros.
The Houston Astros.
Yes. Okay, so here we are. Rangers are 2 points behind the Penguins for third. And that could easily be catch up with the next 2 or 3 days. Hurricanes, it's difficult, but it's still doable. And,
like I said, you're right.
And there's still 23 games to go.
Right.
So it's possible. I mean, and I don't think they're going to be able to. I don't think they're going to drop too far. The Capitals are behind them. I think they're a lock because everybody else is way far behind. Capitals are close to 74 points. The Blue Jackets are at 61 points. Forget it. The Islanders 54 points. Not a prayer. The Devils, their season was over, I think, in week number 2. So, sorry, Donnie, but that's how it goes. And the Flyers, 46 points. Your season was over in preseason. So I think it's a lock that the Rangers are going to take it.
Here's the thing with the Flyers is Claude Giroux has played there all his life. I think he gets traded. I think they trade him. I really honestly
Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah,
they're going to trade him. And I watched something on the NHL Network the other day about him, and he really doesn't want to leave Philadelphia, but he knows the writing's on the wall. He knows the writing's on the wall, and he, like I said, he doesn't want to go, but he doesn't have a choice in the matter. He doesn't have a choice in the matter one way or the other. But when it comes down to it, I lost my train of thought. What the heck was I talking about? Jesus, I lost my train of thought there. Trying to get this photo up of Rob Manfred. But it's a shame that he, how good of a player he was, and one of those guys that wants to stay, with one franchise is not going to be able to do that. That's what sucks.
Yes.
All right, hang on, man. Let me get this. I just got. Maybe you guys will find this picture kind of funny. Hang on a minute. Here we go. Let's see if you can see it. If not, I'll move my big fat head out of the way. Hang on just a second. Let me see here. I'll duck down so you guys can see it.
I love it.
Okay, we can leave that one up for MLB Talk. As we all know, earlier this week, I think Thursday, the union and the owners came to a new CBA. So there is going to be a season. There's going to be a league-wide DH. So the National League will now have a designated hitter. I don't know if you guys heard or not, but in the CBA, starting next season, the bases will be bigger. They're going from 15 inches to 18 inches.
It's better.
They're going to make it better, easier for stolen bases. Would you say it would be easier for a stolen base?
It'd be better for collisions at first base.
That too.
That's what I'm worried about. And that's the real reason why they did that. Too many guys were getting hurt going into first base.
Okay.
Too many ankle injuries going into first base.
Right.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with that. Doing something to eliminate the prospect of injury. I did the idea of losing one of my best guys for 6 to 8 weeks with a sprained ankle in April pisses me right the hell off. Because over something dumb like the size of the baseball bat of the bag.
Yes.
Right. There's going to be a pitch clock.
I don't like that. I think that's silly.
If it's going to speed up the game, I'm all for it.
We'll see.
Well, there's going to be a pitch clock, and you're not going to have hitters like Nomar Garciaparra who undo his gloves after every pitch. You're going to speed the batter up, too. You can't just speed the pitcher up.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is like, how do you steal?
Yeah, true.
Because if the pitcher's going to have, I don't like it. It's not like the shot clock in the NBA. Because when you're trying to time your jump to steal second base, if you go and the pitcher, if you go on 5, and the pitcher doesn't throw till 3, he's got a full 2 seconds to turn around and throw you out.
Right.
If the pitcher starts his kick, goes into his motion at 5, and you left at 7, well, he had 2 whole seconds to turn around and fire down to second.
Right.
And if you're going on first movement, as soon as he goes into it, he can't go any later than. And when does first movement start? And that's all things that are going to have to be ironed out, because is it going to be like in the NFL with the snap? What's the word I'm looking for here? The play clock. Play clock.
Yeah.
With the play clock, is it look at the pitcher, look at the shot, look at the pitch clock, look at the pitcher, look at the pitch clock. Okay. I looked at the pitcher, he hasn't started his motion. Pitch clock is at 0. Pitcher's still hasn't. Okay, is that a ball? Is it a pass? Is it a base?
It's going to be one of the, that's going to have to be determined, obviously. It looks like the season's going to start. It's April 15th, I think. Is when
No, it's going to start April 7th now. They resolved it, so it's going to start on the 7th.
Yeah, that's what I had seen.
So there's going to be about 3 weeks of spring training, something like that.
Yes.
I've always thought they needed to cut spring training down anyway. So
yeah, they do.
Well, the only players that it benefits really is pitchers. I mean, that's
and old guys
benefits. Yeah, that's really
it's a week and a half less of wear and tear on the body of some of the older guys. That's a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the NHL Network on because I have free preview this weekend. I'm watching Blue Jackets and Knights, unless I am not watching the NHL Network. No, I'm not. I have a free preview of NHL Ticket. Or Center Ice. Sorry, Center Ice, and I got the Blue Jackets broadcast on. I thought I had NHL Network on. I have the Blue Jackets broadcast on. Anyway,
let me bring up.
I love that. I'm a huge fan of the DH. I've been as an American League guy. Anyway, I've always hated pitchers batting.
Mm-hmm.
You get 3 at bats once a week, and you're batting. You're 1 for 33 with 1 hit, and maybe if you're lucky, a run driven in. I'm sorry, but the strategy, the whole double switch, whatever. Yeah. It's not 1963 anymore.
It's not even 1983 anymore.
Right.
It's
time.
Good.
Oh, I was just saying, it's time for pitchers. It's time for the NL to have the designated hitter.
Yes,
it's long past time.
So opening day will be April 7th. Spring training will be scheduled from March 31st till April 6th.
Okay, so they're only having a week.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard it starts Thursday.
I'm sorry. The games will be scheduled from March 31st to April 6th. There's only going to be a week's of games, so there's going to be, other than that, the playoff.
So everybody, you're looking at your 5.
Yeah.
I said it'll be enough games for everybody to get one start before the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Right. The playoff format will expand from 10 teams to 12 teams. So 6
I'm okay with that.
With 3 division winners and 3 wild card teams are in each league. The top 2 division winners in each league will receive buys in the division series. The other 4 teams in each league will play a best of 3. I like that. That will be called the wild card round, which means not just one game and it's eliminated. You got to win 2 out of 3. That's a good thing.
Sounds good to me.
There will be no reseeding for division series. The number 1 seed plays the winner of the 4-5 series, and the number 2 seed plays the winner of the 3-6 series.
I like that.
There will no longer be a play-in game, aka game 163, to decide playoff spots.
Good.
All playoff spots will be determined through tiebreaker formulas.
Oh, that sucks. I liked game 163. It was fun.
It says, are there any on-field rules changes other than the DH? That's the only thing that, as far as that goes.
Yeah, because
clock, limits on defensive shifts, larger bases, and automatic ball strike system will be implemented. I think that's 2023. That won't be this year. So that's
right.
So nothing.
I'm not
big.
I'm not a fan of banning the shift.
I don't think they should ban the shift either. I think that takes away from the strategy of playing.
Strategy, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's one of those things that if you were to ban the shift, banning the shift is not going to get people to stop. All it does is make defense harder.
Yeah.
Because now if you have a left-handed stick that goes up there and all he hits to do is the right side, if you're coaching a kid up in middle school or high school, if you're trying to teach a kid how to hit in middle school and high school, and all he does is hit to the right side, and and in high school teams and college teams can still shift.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to get him out of it because he's gonna look at the pros and go, well, all the pros guys, that's all the pro guys do. They hit to the left side, or they hit to the right side. I'm sorry. You got all these left-handed sticks that hit to the right side, and then why should I learn why should I learn to hit the opposite way when this is what the pros do? As
far as double headers and extra inning rules go, doubleheaders will now be 9 innings, and there will be no automatic runner at second base starting in extra innings. So there will be no guy at second base. That's been eliminated.
I'd like to see that modified. I'd like to see a runner on first after 12 and a runner on second after 14.
Yeah.
And as far as signing free agents, I think free agency's already started. I think I've seen a bunch of
he kicked back.
Yeah.
Correa went to the. I saw he went to the Yankees. That was what I had heard, but I don't know if that was true.
Okay.
I saw they had signed for 10 years, $330 million.
I can hang on just a second, but let me look that up real quick. And MLB Trades, because that will show up. Let's see here. Trades.
If Lou's not saying anything, I'm guessing that wasn't real.
Looks like Jackie Bradley Jr. is coming back to Boston. Found out his wedding. That's interesting. That's a good timing to tell somebody that he's coming back to Boston.
That's a good wedding gift.
Let's see here. Is there a list of free agents where it'll tell me? I know there are still some big ones. Obviously, Freddie Freeman is still out there.
Atlanta's got to get him re-signed.
Where he's going to go, I don't know. It looks like he signed Ronald Guzman contract. That's nothing major. I mean, that's nothing minor league. You know, when you're signing somebody to a minor league deal, that's a possibility that they could be. Let's see here. Here's some from ESPN. The Yankees agreed with terms with outfielder Tim LaCrosse on a 1-year contract. Agreed to terms with left-handed pitcher Manny Banunos, right-handed pitcher Vinny Natoya, Ryan Weber, and Jimmy Cazaro. Yeah, I don't see anything there. I don't see anything. Maybe that's still being rumored, but as far as that goes, I don't see anything yet. But then again, who knows? Because that could be something that just broke and we don't even know anything about it. So, I mean, it could be one of those things where, you know, trades.
He's still a free agent. Must have just been some.
Could have been one of those rumors that was going around.
Who did they? The White Sox. They signed Joe Kelly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he left the Dodgers, huh? To go to Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. It looks like arbitration. That's obviously not. I mean, arbitration, I think, is pretty much gone, right? This year, the arbitration exchange date will be from March 22nd, with hearings taking place during the season. So there you go. So starting in a couple weeks, we'll have that. The Rule 5 draft will be taking place during winter meetings.
Yes.
Now, the minimal salary has moved up from $550,000 to $700,000 in 2022, and increasing to $780,000 by the end of the CBA.
Man, I should have played baseball in high school.
A new $50 million pre-arbitration bonus pool to award the top young players in the game. A raise in the competitive balance tax thresholds are from $230 million in 2022, increasing to $244 million by 2026. A six-pick draft lottery and limits on the number of times a player can be optioned is during a season. Nothing. How will these rules affect the 2022 season? Nothing really there. Amateur draft. I know one of the reasons that they couldn't come to some kind of agreement was the international draft. That's stupid. That was what held up everything, but it is what it is. And that's basically it. I was going through the FAQs for the baseball season coming up. So that was what a lot of the questions were, was how is this all going to work? How is it all going to work? And now that the baseball has agreed to its CBA, how is this all
going to work?
5 years.
5 years. So 2027, we might be having the same argument.
Well, the end of the 2026 season, so.
Okay. So 5. So.
We'll be asking ourselves, here we go again after that? No.
Yeah, I was going to say 2026, are we going to have that same argument.
This same conversation. Are we going to be sitting here in March going, Rob Manfred's a clown?
Yeah.
He is.
And I got this photo off of a Twitter handle, actually a Twitter group called Fire Manfred. So if you want to go on it, follow that Twitter account. It's on there.
And I thought it was bad.
That's where I got the photo. Was Fire Manfred. So that is that.
Good idea.
Yeah. So we can talk, as we always seem to end our shows with the NFL. We'll go back
we usually do
that again. What are you guys' thoughts on both Troy Aikman and Joe Buck both going to ESPN? I don't know if you guys have heard. They both have left Fox.
I heard, yeah.
To go to ESPN.
I wonder who gets the number one broadcast at Fox now.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I'd love it to be Kenny Albert.
Is it
Why
because
not?
Tony Romo and Jim Nantz are on CBS, right? They're not on.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
And they're not going anywhere.
And Al Michaels, and I don't know who Michaels' partner is going to be, but Al signed an exclusive deal to go to Amazon.
Well, Joe Buck is expected to be a Monday Night Football announcer. That was agreed upon.
Yep.
So I wonder if Troy's going to be on there.
He's going to.
Him and Troy Monday Night Football together.
They signed him. They signed both of them to do Monday night.
So.
And then I don't know. Yeah, what I wonder is who's going to be the number one team at Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good question.
Why they not any of us?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. We can.
Your resume got lost in the mail.
I'll be a play-by-play cat for Fox.
I'll do color.
Yeah. I got to make a resume.
Disney owns them now, so it is what it is. The Disney Corporation owns Fox now.
No, just Fox, just the movie arm of Fox.
Yeah.
So, and then Aaron Rodgers gets a big contract, 4-year, $200 million deal with the Packers.
No surprise.
Saw that coming.
So
No,
they tagged Devontae Adams, so basically kept everybody that they wanted to bring him back. So.
Yeah. I hadn't seen they had tagged Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
They tagged him.
Not surprised.
What are you guys' take of Carson Winch returning to the NFC East now with the Washington Commanders? Have a trade went down the Colts.
It's a good deal for both sides.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the question now is who do the Colts have as their quarterback is the question moving forward. Jimmy Garoppolo. Me and Lewis were talking about that earlier about him. I would not be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Garoppolo.
No.
Because they run the ball.
Wants to come back?
How about Andrew Luck?
I was just thinking that. Wouldn't we give Andrew a call, see what he's doing these days?
Oh, Andrew. Hey, Andrew, you want to come back? We need you. Now.
One more year. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough because they don't have, there's nobody on the free agent market, really. Deshaun Watson?
Watson could possibly. He has a no trade clause, so he can pick where he wants to go.
Right.
He can pick where he wants to go if that's the case.
Because Pittsburgh said they weren't going to do a deal to get him.
Right.
Maybe.
Why?
Maybe they just ride with Brissett.
I'll be honest with you guys. There were talks about the Bucs making a move for Deshaun Watson. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen.
Right.
If Tom didn't come back. But, and the interesting thing is,
also,
what I find interesting about Tom coming back is Ali Marpet, one of their offensive linemen, retired. And so I don't know. I mean, now you're going to have to replace him with a rookie. How's that going?
Or a free agent.
And the Bucs have no one on their defensive line signed other than Shaq Barrett and Vita Vea, who they just restructured his contract. So, yes, the Bucs got their quarterback back, but they have no defense, which they did last year, the year that they won the Super Bowl. So I don't know what they're going to do. That's up to Jason Light and company to figure that out. But I mean, Jimmy G would be a good fit. Deshaun Watson would be a good fit in Indianapolis. I really don't know anybody else out there that you want to.
I kind of think that.
Call Philip Rivers up.
I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head that would be available.
Yeah, for the Colts this year.
Derek Carr, maybe.
I don't. You really think Derek Carr would leave Vegas to go?
I could see Derek.
That's a pretty good division that he's in. I mean, it's going to be hard to win with Russell Wilson being a Bronco now, but I mean, it's
overpaid.
Well, let me ask you guys, in that division, how do you rank the quarterbacks from 1 to 4 with Mahomes, Herbert, Wilson, and Carr?
Yes.
How do you rank?
That's the right answer.
That way,
that's
Mahomes,
the right
Herbert.
answer.
Mahomes first.
Mahomes, Herbert, Wilson, Carr.
Yeah.
Wilson's washed up.
If you think about it, really, guys, and here's what the interesting part is Derek Carr really isn't that bad of a quarterback.
No, he's not.
He's a good number 4. I mean, really, if you think about it, he's a really good number 4 quarterback in that division. I mean, they have a good football team in Vegas, so
very good. They need a wide receiver, and they'd be set, man.
Now, Josh McDaniels is now the head honcho now. So see how that all plays itself out.
No, I think
yeah,
it's just who's all in that division. I mean, Derek Carr would be a number 1 quarterback in just about every other division.
Correct. He just happens
at least, if not number 1, number 2.
Happens to be in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert.
And now Russell Wilson. Denver way overpaid though. And then this.
But 2 1s, 2 2s. Was that what it was?
2 1s, 2 2s, a 5. Drew Lock and a couple other names.
Okay.
That I don't remember offhand.
Well, the Seahawks needed draft capital. Now they got it. So now they can make a move to get a quarterback too. In the draft, Sean Watson, one of the two.
And dumping salary too. I think Russell Wilson's best days are behind him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the Seahawks dumped Bobby Wagner too. So more cap space.
See him end up in Tampa Bay.
That would be interesting. That'll help that.
Now that Brady's coming back.
That'll help that. That's the whole thing now. I think a lot of these free agents may take less money to come play here because they have to try to winning a ring. Coming back. So here's the question I have. And nothing against him. So you take 2 months off, you retire, now you're back. Are you going to do the same thing next season? Are you going to pull that crap with I'm going to retire and then I'm going to come back?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know how.
I don't know. It's not like when Brett Favre was doing that every year just to get out of training camp, where he was hemming and hawing and he wasn't. Will I won't I? Yeah. And then, we get to August 1st and 2 days are all done and training camp's over and it's just now on to the regular season. Here comes Brett Favre strolling into town in his blue jeans and cowboy boots, coming off the farm in Mississippi, and he's ready to play football. I had a feeling Brady was going to come back, and it's March. Right. He took 2 months off, and it's like when you get so used to doing something and you're good at it and you're really good at it and you quit doing it and you think, oh, I'm going to go do whatever. I can do whatever I want now. And you play all the golf you can stomach and you watch all the movies you couldn't watch and you watch all the TV. And after 2 months, you're caught up on everything and you're like, I got nothing to do now. I'm all caught up. And it's not like, it's not like Tom Brady. If he wanted, there isn't anything that Tom Brady hasn't done that that anything Tom Brady could have wanted to do. It wasn't for a lack of funds. It was for a lack of time.
Right.
Now he's had all this time to go do all the things that he couldn't get to do. And I'm sure, and it's not like Tom Brady just, I'm sure that there were weeks ago, season's in January, and he's sitting at home with Giselle, and he's bored out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that the girls are in school, and Giselle's got her own career, and she's doing stuff, and Tom's sitting around the house, missing it, and he's not doing any. It's not like Brett Favre, where he was, he didn't want to. He retired because he didn't want to be part of the game. He wanted to have his summers. He didn't want to have to be in training camp. He didn't want to have to do off team meetings and OTAs, and I can't remember what organized team activities. And he didn't want to do all the 2-a-days. He didn't want to go to training camp. And I'm sure Tom Brady was sitting there going, when is training camp again? Oh, I don't got to go to training camp this year. Well, when do rookies get to this? I gotta go. Am I gonna get to see all the rookies again? I'm sure it was eating Brady alive, not knowing that he wasn't gonna get to participate in anything.
And there was always a chance too. He had never signed the papers. The paperwork were never filed for his retirement.
Right.
So you could still rumor it out there. And I was telling Lewis before that I heard a rumor on Friday night that he wanted to sign in San Francisco. Obviously, we all knew he grew up in California. We all knew he was a 49ers fan growing up. And if he wanted to go out with another ring, win it for them, and then retire. Hey, I helped my hometown team win, and that is that. But, it's interesting now that he comes back. The division's going to be easy trimmings because Atlanta's not any good. The Saints aren't any good, and Carolina's not any good either. So they should easily win the division this year.
You got 6. You're looking.
Wins.
You're got 6 wins already baked in before you even start the season. You gotta assume worst case scenario you go 3-3.
Well, I was gonna say 4-2 at the least, because the only two that would be the Saints, since they can't seem to beat the Saints during the regular season.
I was gonna say 3-3. You win your 3 home games. You lose your 3 road games. Because wacky things happen on the road.
That's true. That's very true.
It's very hard to win on the road in the NFL. So,
right.
But, and I've heard rumblings, people speculating that he's going to get dealt to San Francisco for Jimmy Garoppolo.
So the Bucs are going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah, it's Brady to San Francisco for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay.
Let's see.
I don't know.
I don't see that happening, but
looking at his numbers from last year, there were times where he looked old.
Mm-hmm.
But his numbers look freaking amazing.
Should have won the MVP.
300.
Yeah.
I thought he was more valuable than Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers is a massive douchebag, but that's just me.
Other 2 things, guys, I wanted to cover. Number 1 was the thing with Calvin Ridley being suspended for a year for betting on football.
Yeah.
For betting on his own team. That's what got him, and that's what got him.
That was the clincher.
Yeah.
And you know what was what was funny about the whole situation? He bet on the Hard Rock app here in Tampa. He uses actual name. Got busted here in Tampa.
Using his real name.
Using his real name. Yep.
Yeah. I'm wondering if he didn't retire because he knew he was in trouble.
Yeah. That's true?
The NFL has a very strict no betting on the NFL policy. It's incredibly strict.
Should have learned from B-Road.
Yeah. That's why Pete ain't in the Hall.
Uh-huh.
They bet on the Reds.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, and it's about integrity. Integrity of the game. And you can't have players out here making bets on the outcomes of games because it looks bad.
Yeah,
it looks like it looks like you're, you can go out there and play your heart out and you give it 100% and everything. But if people know that you're, if people find out later that you bet on the game and you had one catch for 18 yards.
Yeah.
People are going to question it.
Right.
No.
Especially if you bet on yourself to have no catches or one catch,
Yeah.
And, you can say, oh, well, I would never bet against my own team, and, to say, have the receipt, I didn't bet against my team. I didn't, I always bet that I would have 10 catches for 100 yards, whatever. But the fact that it can be seen as improprietous is why, it's that the fix is in.
Right. Well, I was going to ask if he went into the huddle with Matt Ryan and go, hey, man, don't throw me the ball. Like, don't throw me the ball. Hey, I bet on the game. You don't say that, obviously, but in the back of his mind, don't throw it to me or I'll drop it. I only bet on myself to make 5 catches today, and I've already had 5. I'm going to drop every ball from here on out. So.
Well, you take the, if the line is 2.5, you take the under because you just drop them.
Yep. Correct.
And then it comes out and you had 3 drops, and if people find out that you bet on the game, you take Atlanta -3.
Right.
And Atlanta -3, and you take the other team, and y'all lose. It looks, and then you had a bad game, then it looks like you're throwing the game, regardless of whether you are or you aren't. And it's what happened to poor Shoeless Joe. Some 100 years ago. He's the only one out there busting his ass and putting in 100%. And all the other guys, the 8-man out, I don't know if you've seen that. The other guys that were tanking, that were really throwing the game, he just gets caught up in it.
Yeah.
But it's already too far gone. I remember hearing a story about years later, it's like in the 30s or 40s, Ty Cobb went into a convenience store down in Georgia. The Georgia Peach. Ty Cobb was from Georgia. He went into, I don't know if it's a real story, it's just one that I had read in a book somewhere. And Ty walked into the just gas station convenience store, and he's like, he looked at the guy behind the counter, and he's like, do I know you? And the guy was like, no, you don't know me. And then he was like, you're Shoeless Joe. You're Joe Jackson. You are Joe Jackson. I know you are. I recognize you anywhere. And he was like, yeah, I'm Joe. And he's like, what are you doing down here? And then after he got banned from baseball, Joe Jackson, all he knew was baseball.
Yeah.
He ended up working in a convenience store in Georgia somewhere. It's a story I'd heard. I don't know if it's true or not. Just one of those sad realities of life. Not to totally get sidetracked and talk about something else, but it just then Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, Pete Rose. I mean,
where does it end?
I know. I mean, there was one guy, there's a scrub player for Arizona that got busted a couple of years ago for betting on football. I mean,
it's
you guys
new, really. It's nothing new. I mean, they've been
doing this since
the 50s.
Yeah. And the NFL cast, because there's so much money in betting, and the NFL makes so much money off of betting, they have to be so strict.
Yes.
I see people, and it's unfortunate that other people who did things that were, that were egregious in a criminal way aren't getting, it's frustrating because, if you don't punish it, then you look weak, but if you do punish it, then you look too hard.
Right.
There's no right answer. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
I've heard that before.
Ray Rice, he only got 2 games at first because everybody freaked out, and it's like, the backlash, not to say that it wasn't deserved, but the backlash, now they just hammer everybody for everything. Any little infraction is you're getting 6 games.
Yeah.
You put one more toe out of line and you're getting expelled.
Right. Well, the other thing, guys, I wanted to talk about too is Khalil Mack going to the Chargers for picks. Did you guys see that, a pair of picks?
I did.
Heard.
I think it's a good move.
I think
Chicago needed so much more than Khalil Mack wasn't the missing piece.
Right.
He wasn't. He was just one piece, and they weren't close.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense to move him to get more picks to rebuild. As much as I hate the word rebuild,
I hate that word.
But when you're reloading, I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't hate. I think I'm in favor of it. I think it's a great move. The Chargers needed another defenseman, another interior pass rusher. I think he'll pair up well.
You got Joey Bosa too. That should be
with
great.
Bosa. That's who I was
outside. You got 2 good outside defensive ends. That's going to make a lot of offensive lines sweat a little bit when you have to play.
There's going to be a lot of offensive line coaches up late going into the Chargers games.
Well, see, there's where I think this year, Los Angeles could have the edge to win the division because Herbert's a great quarterback. I think their running game is decent. Their wide receivers are decent, but they have a good defense. And again, we all know defense wins championships when it's all
does.
So,
I think Aaron Stickney re-signed with Tampa Bay.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, so you at least got him back. But no, I think the Chargers will be a force to be reckoned with in the West. I really think that they're going to be. I really, really like that move.
Well, and then guys, we'll all have to wait about a month from now when we're doing the draft. We'll have to watch who.
Yeah, absolutely.
The middle of the year starts in a couple of days.
So, isn't the new season start sometime this week, upcoming week?
I think Tuesday
19th or something like that. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say I know it's coming up. It's coming up. The new season starts. So
there's a lot of good offensive linemen available in free agency too. So I wouldn't be shocked if Tampa Bay made a deal to get one or two of those guys in-house for next year.
Yeah.
Melvin Ingram's available. I think they'll resign. I think Gronk resigns with Tampa Bay now.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I can see Gronkowski.
I didn't know Bridgewater was still available.
I think the only other quarterback he said he'd like to play would be Joe Burrow. So the only other team I think he'd sign with would be the Bengals. So
yeah, I could see him playing in Buffalo too. I could see him playing with Jared Allen.
Yep.
They'd be fun together.
Well, who is the tight end in Buffalo right now?
I don't remember. Not offhand. I have to look it up. Cordell Patterson's available. Robin Ingram's available.
Because the Bucs have the blind side of Tom Brady is locked up. Donovan Smith and the kid that got hurt last year. Oh, Jesus. They drafted him. Now I can't think of his dang name. The offensive lineman that they picked up. Jesus. Okay, it'll come to me. But they've got both the blind side covered.
They need to re-sign
the left side of
Jensen.
Yeah, Ryan Jensen's the center. They got to get him back, or they'll have to get someone else to play center.
And Kappa.
Yeah. Like I said, Ali Marpet retired, so he's out of it. So they're going to have to get somebody to fill his spot on the offensive line.
There's a lot of great offensive linemen available this year, though. It's a very offensive lineman heavy free agent class.
And they've restructured Vita Vea's deal to open up more money. I think you'll see a lot of them go back and talk to players.
I think a lot of money goes back on the board now that Tom's back, because I think that if you're sitting there, you're looking at the roster and you're like, nah. And no offense to Kyle Trask, but he's not Tom Brady.
Well, and the funny thing about Kyle Trask is, and I've been, I listen to sports radio on my way to work every day.
Right.
And there are people that get on there in the morning and say that this is before Tom came back, that you got to give this kid a chance. You didn't waste a second round draft pick on him. You picked him in the last pick of round 2. So basically he went round 3. He was a round 3 draft pick. You didn't waste a pick. This isn't wasting a pick.
I don't think they reached on him.
But
it wasn't like when Denver signed when Denver drafted Tim Tebow all those years ago, and they reached on Tim Tebow.
Right. I mean, there have been some first picks that have been big question marks on.
Right. I think that it gets another going into the day before Tom came back. Well,
I mean, I think they were going to start playing Gabbert. I really do. I think that was what they were going to do. And I think if he started to fail, then you bring Kyle Trask in.
Right.
I think a lot of people being here in Florida Florida Gator fans want him to be the starting quarterback. But I can go back and tell you in history, not one Florida Gator quarterback ever had a successful NFL career. None of them. Spurrier, Jesse Palmer, Danny Werfel, name them. Tim Tebow, none of them. Not one of them has ever.
Where's with Florida not getting good quarterbacks? I don't get that.
No, we have good quarterbacks in college. They just can't.
Yeah.
The next level.
That's what I'm saying. Why can't you get a good quarterback that come out of Florida?
That's a good. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't know how. And again, we have a new head coach this year.
Right.
So that's going to be different.
Well, that's
for Dan Mullen. So that'll be.
Yeah. Well, that's one nice thing about the Tampa Bay situation is that he's coming back to Bruce Arians.
Yes.
So it's not like he's gonna have to learn a whole new system.
Correct.
All the guys there know him, so I think they'll get a deal done with Gronk. I don't see him going in. Not if Tom's back. I thought he was on his way to Cincinnati without Tom. I thought, either that or retirement. Because Gronk's got so much other stuff going on. Gronk's just, he's a meathead.
Right.
And he knows it, and he enjoys it. He doesn't care that people think he's a goofball. I don't think he's a big, dumb, giant football player, meathead. Right. He knows it. He doesn't care. He embraces that lifestyle. You don't go on party cruises and live the Gronk lifestyle if you don't know you're living the Gronk lifestyle. Gronk knows what he is, and he's happy with it.
He's very, very, very smart with his money. I will say that.
He embraces the Gronk.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference between Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. Is Gronk's got so much going on. He's got WWE. He's got his party cruises. He's got all the commercials he does. He's got all the stuff going on that isn't football, that I think if he retired tomorrow, he'd be fine. He'd have stuff to do. He'd be working on things. Tom Brady doesn't. Tom Brady has football and not football. And Tom Brady has so much money between him and his wife. Giselle isn't out here, working the runway for peanuts. She makes good money doing what she does. So they don't need money. And I think it boils down to the fact that anything Tom wanted to do, the only reason he didn't do it was for lack of time. So I'm sure that, they took a family vacation. They went to wherever, France and Italy, and, they spend time in California. I'm thinking he's got a house in California, live in Florida now. Anywhere just spending time in London. I also think the reason he came back is he wants to play in Germany.
Yeah, that's the Bucks will be there this year.
The Bucks will be in Germany this year.
Bucks are going to Germany this year. Yep.
And I think that's intriguing because I don't think he's played in a game outside of the States. I don't think he's played in an international game yet.
Yeah.
So he gets to take that off.
I thought that the Patriots played in London.
I don't remember if the Patriots played in London. And I don't remember if they played in London when he was suspended or not.
Right. That could be true. Maybe they did play when he was suspended. That's right. I know other than that, the salary cap went up, guys. 25.7
million.
Yeah, the salary cap this year in the NFL is $208.2 million, up from $182.5 million from last year. So a $25 million increase in overall.
That's good, no?
Space. Yeah, I mean that's going to give more teams more money to negotiate.
More flexibility. Yep.
More flexibility, obviously. So yeah, I mean that's going to definitely help the Bucks with having to try to get everybody back from last year. But I mean, for everybody, that's not just the Bucks. I mean, that's every team.
Right. Yeah.
Free agents. I had someone ask me the other day who the Jaguars are going to pick on free agency. I said, I don't know what does Jacksonville not need? I don't even know, right? They don't need. Yeah. They need offensive line help. Obviously,
there's a lot of good offensive linemen out there.
Yeah,
they need defensive line help. They need the only guy I'm not getting rid of is the hot dog vendor at this point.
Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence obviously is not going to be
right.
But I mean, yeah.
Right.
No, I think they need some help to get him some offensive line help. Yeah.
And he needs a weapon.
Yeah.
He needs a court. I look at what Cincinnati did, and they'll sign a lineman this year. This year there's quite a few linemen in the free agent market
help Joe
that are going to end up in Cincinnati. I think you'll see at least two of them go to Cincinnati, and they're going to be scary. If they do it right.
Yeah,
if they do it right.
They were the Cinderella last year, and I think this year
they have a lot.
It won't be a Cinderella story again this year. They're
going
to be solid this year.
I think they'll challenge Baltimore for the division. I think this is really make it or break it year for Lamar.
Yep, I would agree.
I think he's got to have it. Can't be him being the reason why they don't make the playoffs.
Right.
I know the last couple of years he's had some injury issues. He had dealt with COVID, and he's dealt with the team having injuries. But he's gonna have to put up consistent, solid numbers all year long, or people are gonna start to question him and his ability to lead a team, fairly or unfairly.
Correct.
I think Buffalo's gonna be good again. It depends on what New England does in free agency. They're gonna be good.
They gotta get Max some weapons.
He needs a weapon or two.
Yeah, Now, see, the funny thing is, I had heard a rumor, Bud, before he got suspended, that Calvin Ridley was one of the top weapons that Belichick and company were looking to go get. Now, obviously, him being suspended for a year isn't going to happen. But yeah,
what good is that going to do now?
It depends. Again, there's going to be some divisions that are already going to be wrapped up before we take a snap, but other divisions are going to be up in the air. I
think it's the AFC East is a 2-horse race. It's Buffalo and New York or New England.
Yep, correct.
The AFC South is Indy and Tennessee. And it's a 2-horse race.
Correct.
And it may be Tennessee. It's probably Tennessee's to lose at this point, depending on what Indy does for the quarterback.
Right.
The NFC East, AFC North.
That's got the two. I think it's you mentioned 2-team race. I think it's Cincinnati and Baltimore. I think are going into next season.
And then the West. The West is pretty wide open.
The West, yeah, I gotta say that division, the AFC West.
I think that's the toughest division in football right now.
Correct. I would agree with that. I think Russell Wilson made that strongest division in football.
The most competitive for sure. And then you go NFC East. That's a pretty wide open division.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's open.
That's a wide open division because nobody's great.
Right.
The
NFC South, I think, is all but
that's unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
I think
the NFC South is a one horse race.
It's Tampa's to lose.
Tampa Bay. Yeah.
The NFC North. I mean,
it's Green Bay's to lose.
Green Bay's to lose.
Yeah, it's a one horse race in the NFC North. The
West is interesting.
The West,
I think, is wide open.
The West is very interesting
because you have if San Francisco can get a quarterback, it's a 3-team race between LA, Arizona, and San Francisco. I think the only team that really is kind of out of it now is Seattle, unless they get a quarterback.
Right.
If Deshaun Watson goes there, that might. But see, them too. But you were just talking about offensive line help. There's where the Seahawks need to go get. Seahawks need to get some offensive linemen because they struggled the last 2 seasons, and Russell Wilson's been all over on his butt more times than he can count.
Yeah, that's why he hurt his thumb.
Yeah, so they're going to have to get some offensive line help out in Seattle too.
Yeah,
if they're going to get that fixed. So, well, I mean, again,
but if they pick up Russell Wilson, or not Russell Wilson, sorry, excuse me, Deshaun Watson, they're right back in the thick of it.
Mm-hmm.
If they get Watson and a couple of linemen and a receiver,
as long as they can, I think T.J. Lockett was gonna, but I think if you bring in Deshaun Watson, he might stay.
Right?
Might stay, you know what I mean?
Lockett was on the trading block.
Okay. Lockett was on
That's what I had seen. Unless you move him for Watson.
See, because Houston's going to want something in return. Houston owns his
of course.
So
what I would
want something
if I was the Niners. What am I talking about? The Seahawks. That's what I'm talking about. If I was the Seahawks, I'd take those 2 seconds and Drew Lock and TJ Lockett, and I'd flip it for Deshaun Watson.
That might be what might.
It might be enough. It might be enough. I don't know.
Or maybe a 1-2 lock and lock it.
1-2 lock in, lock it and lock.
Yeah,
lock it in.
Lock it in.
Well, that'd be a good place to start.
Yeah,
I would actually start with the 2 seconds lock and lock it, and see they say no, we want more. Then you go 1-2 and lock it and lock it and lock it in.
Well, that would be great. Well, then of course we have the draft coming up, so we'll see how Seattle uses those picks because again they have 2 1s and 2 2s now, so we'll see how
they have a 1 this year, a 2 this year, a 1 next year, and a 1 and a 2 next year, and they have a 1-2 and a 5 this year, plus Drew Lock and a couple other pieces, and they have a 1 and a 2 next year in 2023.
Gotcha.
So I don't know.
Yeah, should be interesting in about this time next month,
right?
To find out, what they do. Well, guys, with that, I don't have anything else. We can close it out. If you guys want to talk about your shows, you can. Any closing arguments, you can do that as well. I'll leave the floor to you guys.
Well, I don't have anything closing arguments, but In-Hand Sports Show still is running every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Number to call, 512-543-4662, 512-543-4662. We'll cover with the NBA, any more moves in the NFL, which has been very, very interesting lately. Of course, now the college basketball tournament is in place. We're going to go through the first round. We'll be in the middle of the second round by the time the show begins. So for all you basketball craze lovers out there, like I am, you might want to give the show a call for the next couple weeks. It's going to be very, very interesting. And any more with baseball moves and whatnot. So it should be a fairly interesting show on Saturday. So give a call if you have time. Thank you.
And guys, we will be back in our normal time spot on Thursday. The last 2 weeks have been up in the air, but I have everything back under control technologically, unless something goes catastrophically wrong next Thursday. This Thursday coming up, but hope that it doesn't. So we'll be back from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our regular time slot on Thursday night. This week, again, we'll be talking about anything that breaks during the week. I actually, will start looking for sports stuff starting tomorrow. Even tonight, if something pops up, I'll go ahead and start putting it together for us to talk about next Thursday or this Thursday coming up. But with that, guys, the Walker Report has been sponsored by creatingzenspaces.com. We are part of In the Zone Sports Talk Radio and NGSC Sports. Remember the website, guys. It's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. We like to thank our men and women of our armed services and our first responders. We still are sending prayers out to the people of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Russians, I believe the last I read, are surrounding the capital, which means that's bad news because they're close then to taking over the country. That's bad news for, I think, all of us throughout the world, not just Ukraine in general. Right. But again, our thoughts and prayers still continue out to those people who are going through that. Until then, guys, I am the Sportster Bradley Walker. Thanks to Lewis and Adam again as they join me here every week. So we will see you guys back on Thursday night as we normally do. Until then, everyone stay safe. Peace.
Good night, folks.
Deuces.